I think there is a big structural shift going on in the economy, and it is being driven by the arrival of machines, the growing automation of our economy.
John, when you're looking at the news lately in regards to the economy, there isn't a lot of good stuff out there. You know, you've got stagnant growth, slowing innovation, developing countries undercutting first world jobs, and then, you know, what jobs there are left, robots are taking the rest of them. How do we interpret all of this negative news, and is it all interconnected somehow?
No, that's an excellent point, Celeste. It just seems to be unrelenting bad news, doesn't it? It sort of feeds the human desire for bad news. We gobble this stuff up. You know, the world is bad and it's getting worse. I think there's really two narratives out there. The first narrative is that we're in a period of stagnant growth or subpar economic growth. Some would say subpar innovation, and we're just not seeing the historical growth patterns that we might have seen 30 years ago, 50 years ago. The other big narrative is just the opposite, that we're seeing a period of rapid technological progress, especially in the areas of automation and computerization and robotics. And these are driving a huge structural shift in the economy. You can't have it both ways. You can't have stagnant growth and huge productivity enhanced leaps forward through automation. It's got to be one or the other. And I'd fall down on the side of the latter. I think there is a big structural shift going on in the economy, and it is being driven by the arrival of machines, the growing automation of our economy.
Well, automation, it's not like that's something new. Robots have been replacing human jobs since the agricultural revolution 2 centuries ago. But is it fair to assume that as technology grows, robots are going to be taking more and more of our jobs? And if that is the case, what's going to fill the employment gap?
Yeah, good point, Celeste. Here too, there's the optimists and the pessimists. I mean, the optimists would say, exactly as you put it, you know, for at least since the agricultural revolution and the industrial revolution, we've watched machines and mechanization replace or complement human labor. And then this has generally been beneficial. The arrival of machines in agriculture, you know, tractors, combine harvesters replacing poor souls out in the fields, hoeing individually and with their labor-intensive work, has seen gigantic productivity gains and huge output gains. I mean, France before the French Revolution, over 90% of the population worked in agriculture. Today it's probably just over 3%. The pessimists take a very different take on this. They say early automation generally complemented human labor. It didn't supplant it. It just made us more productive and contributed to higher output. They said the arrival of smart machines and the growing infusion of artificial intelligence in our mechanized industrial societies is starting to replace skilled labor or semi-skilled labor as well as the unskilled labor. And the fear is that we will not just see machines complementing human productivity, but actually replacing human productivity.
And there was a US economist, Tyler Cowen, he's written a book on this inequality and the newest wave of innovation in regards to, the inequality for middle class. And he said, one day soon we'll look back and see that we have produced two nations, a fantastically successful nation working in a technologically dynamic sector and everything else. Do you agree with this sentiment? And do you think that there is a big risk with inequality?
He's got an interesting point. I mean, maybe it's neither the optimists nor the pessimists. Maybe it's not a question that, you know, we have a hugely bright future because of automation and robotics, or we have stagnant growth and slow wage increases. We have a third option, which is that, you know, the society, the economies we live in are going to grow rapidly, and that we are going to see huge output and productivity gains because of robotics and mechanization. But we're also going to see, and we may be seeing, great gulfs of inequality opening up. So in other words, the beneficiaries are the owners of capital, the owners of the robots, and those skilled workers that complement robotics or cannot easily be replaced by robotics, television journalists, and the unskilled labor that's seeing their jobs disappear and their wage rates being driven down by the arrival of automation, and who are getting a shrinking share of the pie. Whatever comes out of this debate, and no one really knows what the future holds in terms of future technological gains, there does seem to be an argument at looking at how we can help our societies adjust to these structural changes. So that means focusing on education that kind of can produce the skills and the creativity that would complement the rise of this second machine age or this new robotic wave that's sweeping our economies. So there's a greater complementarity between the forces we see at work rather than this gulf between the winners and the losers.
Well, John, as you said, we don't really know what the future holds, and I'm sure it's something that, you know, it'd be really interesting to see how we do advance technologically and how we work out this situation between robots and, you know, human labour. So thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insight with us.
Thanks for having me, Celeste.
That's all from myself and John today, but if you did like this video, be sure to give it a like and comment on our website, dukascopy.tv.